Hey guys, it's been a while since I uploaded a new video, so I'm just going to give an update on my Project 05 ZX-6R race bike. It's been eating starters on me for some reason, probably after a few crashes on the racetrack, but anyway, so I'm thinking maybe, because I hit the stator cover here, that it might be something in there. So I have purchased a new to me starter, but before putting it in, I'm gonna probably swap out the stator just in case it happens to chew this one up too. So I do have a spare motor for this thing that I've been stealing parts from, so I'll probably steal the stator out of that and swap it into this guy, see if that does anything. And over the winter my batteries died too, so hopefully it's all good. After that, I do need fork seals. Fork seals were leaking on it too, so I'm going to be doing that. So I'll do some progress. So now with the tank pulled, we can get access to the starter, and in perfect Kawasaki fashion, everything is just really hard to get at. The coolant overflow bottle is covering the bolts for the starter, so there's an 8mm bolt there you pull out and you can get that out of the way, and then the cover of the stator cover has 8mm bolts as well. You have to pop out, and we get access to that. You're going to need an extension to get at these ones behind the coolant overflow here. I gotta detach a few of these cords, but you can see down there there's the two 8mm bolts holding the starter in. So I'm going to go ahead and pop those out and get going with the stator swap. I really hope this is it, because I kind of out of guesses after while it's eating starters. So maybe once that covers off, it'll give me a better idea of what's going on behind there, if something's out around a little bit, but anyway, we'll see once we get it all off. So we have starter number 1 here on the left and starter number 2. Well, actually this is starter number 2 and this is going to be starter number 3 now, but this is the one I just pulled out off my backup motor that was currently in the Cowie, but as you can see it's seized now, so this doesn't turn at all. This is the one I've bought. It's used, eBay special, but you know, it's 40 bucks compared to, I don't know, 120 or something, 150 if you buy them brand new. So anyway, this one you can see spins freely. You give this one a little shake, you can hear kind of rattling around in there. So this one's working, good working condition. So after pulling the stator cover off here, I mean, there's not much to see. I mean, this small little gear there is what the starter actually spins and turns the big gear in here behind. But I don't know, like when I pulled it off, when I pulled the cover off, that little gear was kind of loose in there. So I don't know what happened, if the splines kind of got crossed a little bit, and it was just when it was spinning it wasn't syncing right, so it was putting more strain on the starter motor. But anyway, it's burnt out. There's not much to see. I mean, the stator itself, there's really not too much that can destroy the starter itself, other than perhaps that little gear. So I'm going to put the starter in first, slip it through the back here, and then line up the splines when I put the cover back on, and hopefully that solves my problem for that. It's not hard to get in here. I mean, the whole thing, I've had this bike apart and back together so many times that it goes pretty quick, but it's still a pain if you have to be pulling a starter every couple track days or whatever. So that's not what I'm not up for that. So anyway, we'll see how it goes, and hopefully I can get some life out of this battery, at least give this sucker a try. But I think the battery might be toast too, so might be another one of those in store. Anyway, we'll see how it goes. So new starter installed. There it is. And those little bolts tighten back up. The hardest thing actually to get on is that ground wire right there on the side. That gray thing, there's a little Phillips screw underneath it, and it's kind of you have to twist the starter and then undo it down in there somewhere just to kind of get it out. So anyway, I'm going to slip the stator cover back on and line up those gears right. Most of you probably do know, but those who don't know, the stator, that's your charging system for your bike. Bikes don't have alternators, they have stators. So it charges your battery as it turns the magnets in there. So that's what that is. Anyway, I'm gonna plug her back on and let's see if we can get her going. Well, it's all back together, but the battery is indeed toast. So I've got to get a new one. Put it on the charge and it says full, but I know it definitely wasn't full. So I will have to swap that out and come back to it another day, I guess, once I get a new battery. So we'll see how it goes then. So my latest discovery is, it's probably nothing to do with the stator, but mechanic recommended that it might be the starter clutch that's not disengaging, therefore causing the starter to continue running and burn it out. So starter shouldn't be running while the bike's running. This little starter gear here, the wheel at the back should roll free this way and then not backwards, and it kicks the starter out after it's started up. But what's happened on the back, what I thought on this one was that the starter clutch, there's something gone with it, but I have a spare motor that I've been looking at parts with, and I've got my almost 2-year-old son giving me tips and pointers here, but my spare motor, I pulled the flywheel off, and this is what it has. This is the flywheel, so this is the side you see from once you take the stator cover off. The crankshaft goes through here, and on the back side here is mounted the starter clutch, which looks like this, and it's got these little steel plugs almost that when the starter's engaged is supposed to kick out, and I don't know all the ins and outs of it, but anyway, that's what it's supposed to look like. So these little guys are spring loaded, and if one of those comes out, well then the starter gear or the clutch gear won't function properly. But when I took mine off here on the bike, it seems to be working properly. So I'll just show you kind of the process of how I took that off. So I started by taking the stator cover off, obviously, and then loosening off the crankshaft bolt here, just breaking it free with the impact driver, and taking that off. And then you're left with the flywheel has these threads on them, and the part number in the owner's manual. What I did is I just bought a generic flywheel puller. So the inside diameter here is 38 millimeters. So you just have to measure across the flywheel, this threaded part of the flywheel, and that'll give you it's either 35 or 38 depending on your bike, and mine was 38, so that's what the flywheel puller looks like. I bought a generic one, 1.5 inch by 38 mil flywheel puller, so it seems to work pretty good. So as you can tell, my mechanic here is giving me what I needed to do. So I took the bolt out completely, and with the spare bolt I left it in just to give it a little bit of I threaded it back on once it was cracked loose, just to give it a little bit of something else, a little bit extra for the on the crankshaft. So when I thread this on over top, the bolt that threads on in the center pushes on that crankshaft bolt, and then I use the impact again, and so this, as you can see, threads over top. And once you get it started here, yeah, so anyway, it threads over top, and then you tighten up that center bolt, and it just gives it a little pop, and off comes the flywheel. Okay, don't touch that right now, Mr. Mechanic. So that comes off, and then flywheel basically just pops off that crankshaft, and there's the starter clutch gear. On the back is mounted your starter clutch. So mine, all the little springs and weights seem to be intact in this one too. So I don't know really what the cause of it is, but I'm going to switch them out anyway with the other one I have, and put it all back together, and hopefully that cures my problem of it eating starters. So we shall see. I hope that's it. Anyway, if I have, I'll show you how it goes back together here once I've got these swapped out. So when replacing the stator cover, it's good to replace the gasket as well. It's recommended. Good idea. They're only about $5 anyway. So I'm gonna put that gasket on and reinstall the stator cover and fire it up, see if it goes. So I'm gonna fire it up. Since it's a race bike, I have no. I took the controls off the clip on there and just reinstalled down here, just a toggle and a start push button switch. So turn on the key. And this is the fuel pump on and off, and then just fire it up. So there it is, flywheel removal and starter clutch replacement on an 05 ZX-6R 636. So after all that, the starter still continues to run once the bike has been started. So clearly it wasn't the clutch, the starter clutch. So my next guess was that it was the relay. That's the starter relay coming off the battery. So one battery in, and then the out to the starter. So I bench tested it and it seemed to be working fine. The resistance was reading okay, but I don't know, I'm not an electrical excuse me, I'm not an electrical guy, so I'm more of a mechanical guy, so it's kind of my Achilles heel. But what I did, it's very rudimentary but effective, is down here I installed a toggle. So on, off. So basically what I'll do is when I turn the bike on, because this is my relocated kill switch and starter button, so I'll turn the bike on, and because this toggle is not engaged, it's a break between the relay and the starter. So because it's not engaged, when I press the starter button, the relay clicks but it doesn't engage the starter. So basically I hold the toggle closed to allow power to pass through, press the start button, and it starts. Once it starts, I let go of the toggle and the starter stops running, which is essentially what this whole project was about. So anyway, I got it to work. It works now. After all, it's a race bike. It's been crashed, it's been repaired, rebuilt, so somewhere along the lines the electrical's probably a little hoopy. I don't have any of the harnesses for the signals and all that crap, so who knows what's happened. Anyway, all I know is that it works fine, and I'll be putting it back together, the bike back together. Just got my slicks put on, and I got my fork seals done on the front, and yeah, it'll be back together here right away, and I'll be able to take it for a ride, finally get out to the track this year. So I'm anxious to do that. So hope the video was somewhat informative for anyone who plans on pulling off the stator cover and the starter and so on. So that's what I got to. It was informative for me. It was a bit educational, so let me get inside there and figure out how to take the flywheel off and all the rest. So for that, it was good for me. Just get a little bit more information about what the bike, how it works. So anyway, I hope you all enjoyed it.